Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Cheers and welcome to Trades Lady Happy Hour. Hopefully, this week we will not have the weird technical difficulties that we did last week. And for those of you who did watch last week, A, thank you for putting up with all the technical difficulties, but B, I am still working on trying to get the happy hour from last week posted. Instagram has been incredibly poopy recently, and I am currently looking for alternatives. Some of you may have seen that I posted a little poll, a little survey of y'all to figure out where I should move Trades Lady Happy to. So stay tuned for some details on that. I do have things in the works because it's really crappy when I have an amazing guest and then I can't share their story, and that's just no fun. So fingers crossed, no issues this time. And I'm really excited about this week's guest. So I want to thank all of you, first of all, for tuning in every week. I want to thank my amazing sponsor, Drive Time, for showing their love and support for women in the trades by helping this podcast kind of continue and keep going. And I want to, for those of you who are new, tell you a little bit about what we're doing here and why we do this. So Trades Lady Happy Hour is a weekly installment of Women Trades Folk Celebration. There are about 2.5% of all automotive trades folks and the periphery trades as well that are women. So very, very small number, but there are a ton of amazing women out there nonetheless, who are kicking butt in the trades every day, and they rarely get their praises sung, they rarely get a light shown on them, and they're just out there kicking butt. And this is my little way of giving back, of helping share the amazing spotlight and platform that I've been just fortunate to have fallen into via TV and All Girls Garage, and that has been such a huge gift for me, and it's my way of sharing that and passing that torch a little, and shining a light on all the other amazing women out there who don't get the recognition as they deserve, generally speaking. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and hearing the wonderful stories of the many, many women that I've had on as guests. You can catch all of the past episodes on my IGTV tab, and if you're ever looking for inspiration or just a little motivation or just to hear some cool stories and meet some cool women, you can go head on over, not right this second, stay and watch this live, but you can head on over to my IGTV tab, and there's over 100 incredible women's stories there. Peruse them, check them out. Let me know what you think. If you have recommendations of other amazing women that I should be talking to, make sure you let me know. Shoot me a private message or just connect me to them. I would be eternally grateful and would love to meet new women. I love meeting the amazing women that I've had the chance to throughout these. If you have questions, I encourage questions. Please don't put them in the comments because I'm not going to see them. I can't read that fast. And I'm generally super involved in the conversation, so I don't always read the comments, but know that I appreciate the love and I appreciate the support. And I saw a badge coming through, and I just want to say that I appreciate that so much. Thank you guys for your support. This is pure passion project, and every little bit always helps. And more importantly, feeling the love and support is just it's just a wonderful thing. So thank you. But if you have questions, put it in the comment, in the question box below. There's a little question mark, little thought bubble type thing. Put your questions in there, and I will do my best to get those questions answered. So without further ado, we have an amazing guest for tonight. Her name is Alex Schultz. I believe I'm getting that last name right, but you never know. I've been known to mangle last names in the past. She is a motorcycle technician and has a hella cool job working at the Proving Grounds for Harley-Davidson, and I'm super excited to hear what that's like and what that's all about, what that looks like on a daily basis. She's also worked at independent shops. She's worked at dealerships, so she's got a little bit of experience and all sorts of, actually a lot of bit of experience, but she's experienced a lot of different areas of things, and I'm excited to hear her perspective and her experiences in these different types of jobs and work situations. And so I'm excited to meet her. I've not met Alex before. So it's always fun when I get to meet new folks. I've also had a crap ton of caffeine. So if I'm a little woo, now you know why. I also spent the day at the drag strip, which is very exhilarating. It was accelerating too, but it was very, very exhilarating. And so I'm a little I'm a little high on life, a little buzzed right now. And so I'm drinking water because I don't need to add alcohol to this mix. Just saying. So, all right, now without further ado, I am going to get Alex in on this conversation, and let's see if she is in the room. All right, Alex, if you are an invite, come on in. The water's warm. Join me in the conversation. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Fantastic. It's really awesome to meet you.
It's awesome to meet you as well.
What is behind you?
A giant #1 for Harley. It's a big Harley household.
Nice. I love it. So like a black wall with a big #1.
Pretty much.
I freaking love it. What room is this in your house?
So this is in our spare guest room. So that's like the first thing people see when they wake up.
I love it. That's fantastic. Where are you based? What part of the country are you in?
I'm actually in Lake Havasu City, Arizona.
Oh, you're close.
Super close.
Oh my God, how come we've not met in real life?
I have no clue.
We need to fix that. That needs to be fixed right away. Okay, so I gave a short little introduction of who you are, and I probably missed a ton of details, but would you mind telling the fine folks at home just briefly who you are, what you do, and then we'll dive into all the good stuff.
All right, sounds good. I'm Alexis. Alex for short. I'm a vehicle test systems mechanic at Harley's Arizona Proving Grounds. So the lab I work in, I guess in layman's terms, all the current and unreleased products come to us and we test the parts. Motorcycles, we can put maybe 20,000 miles on a bike in 2 months. We put up on the dyno stands. They run by themselves. I program the bikes to run by themselves.
Oh, wow.
They eliminate having a rider. It's actually really cool seeing.
Although that would be fun.
Running all at once.
I bet. Although it would be fun if you got to put 20,000 miles on a vehicle, on a motorcycle.
Oh, 100%. I mean, in our durability lab, we have 3 shifts, and riders ride all day long.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Although I wonder if you lose the love for it a little bit doing that all day long, like riding.
So I've that a few of our riders ride metric bikes or don't even like motorcycles at all. I mean, there's always, the gun-ho enthusiast that absolutely loves it. But yeah, 8 hours a day in Arizona's hot summer sun wearing full gear,
Right?
I can totally get it. I'm spoiled in the shop.
Yeah, that sounds great. It's like when you work at an ice cream factory and then you never eat ice cream again, right? Like,
100%.
What a cool freaking job, though. How did you land that? How did you get into that world?
So it was actually really crazy. I was working at an independent shop, and I had decided that I wanted to actually move back. I was on the East Coast and decided I want to move back west because my family's from Texas. And I had this phone call had popped up. I thought it was spam. It was really crazy. And they offered, they wanted to sit down and have an interview. And I was like, no way Harley's calling me for an interview. This is insane. So I was like, yeah, sure. What's the worst that can happen? Unfortunately, I had already signed up to do an interview at a different shop. So I feel really bad about that. But they're amazing in Texas. Go see Bernie's Motorcycle Service if you're ever in the Bernie, Texas area. Those guys are super rad. But yeah, and I did the interview on my way. I was in my truck at a truck stop in Louisiana when I did my interview.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How crazy.
It was absolutely insane. Yeah, they got to watch me back up my truck and trailer during my interview when I guess the lot attendant came by and I was like, yeah, you can't park your truck with the tractor trailers. You're going to have to move. So yeah.
Were you in the process of moving to Texas for that other job? Is that?
Yes, 100%. So
and you just like rerouted.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? All my life is already packed up in this truck and trailer. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm going to take it.
That is so amazing. I think that is such a fantastic story. And do you know how you got on their radar, like to get this out of the blue call?
I know I was looking because my husband's originally from California. So we were trying to move, not quite California, but Arizona and area. And I applied at a couple different shops, and I guess my resume was on Indeed.
Oh,
So they sent me an offer and called me, I guess, because my number was on Indeed. And here I am.
all right. So Indeed works, y'all. Anybody looking for
Yeah.
work, and putting it up to the universe totally works. Amazing. And so are you saying we should pick up those spam suspected calls periodically?
Sometimes, yeah. Just every once in a while, definitely pick up those spam calls.
Oh my goodness, I love it. So I want to go back in time a little bit, if you don't mind. I mean, it sounds like you live in like a super like motorcycle centric family and household, but was that an always from childhood kind of thing?
So my family is fifth generation mechanic.
Oh wow.
Yeah, my great granddad built funny cars in the 70s. My uncle had owned a racetrack. My dad raced for Team Green in the 90s
Wow.
for motocross, and then my uncle he had worked on nitro Harleys, so it is very motorsports driven household.
Wow. So you literally have this like pumping through your veins.
100%.
Did you know when you were little that you were going to join the family tradition?
Oh, 100%. My mom could not get me out from underneath a truck or in the garage with my dad working on bikes. She used to tell me when she was probably about like 7 months pregnant, when she was going to the track with my dad, that the only way I would like stop moving around was when the bike started up at the starting line.
Oh,
So yeah, I guess you could say from birth.
right? No kidding. That's amazing. It's like I imagine like you see like little kids who had like a lot of dance and music in their like childhood when they were in utero and they like come out dancing and having rhythm. Like that's you with motorcycles.
100%. It was funny when I first started riding at 3. So my dad had put me on this little PW50 with training wheels. Did not show me where the throttle stop was or the brake. So I took off a dog chain hooked up on the back. That way, if I started to get off, towards the fence or anything, he can yank me back. Well, my uncle decided he was going to hold on to me, and I drug this giant, like 6'3" man around the backyard. He like tripped and fell. But yeah, and then since then, I mean, they used to have to drag me off the bike when it was dark outside.
That is freaking amazing. I love that. 3 years old. No way. God, that
Insane.
is so super cool. Unbelievable. So nobody in your family was surprised when you went down this path and decided to do it professionally.
They were like, why are you even telling us? We already figured this was going to happen.
Right. Did you ever consider anything else?
um, I did consider doing mechanical engineering for a bit, just still mechanical, but
Yeah.
something different. I was looking at more of the designing and building aspect, but
Okay.
once I decided and like picked up a wrench, it was kind of like, I'm happy where I'm at.
I love it. So you went to MMI, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And was that in Phoenix or was that another location?
That was at their location in Florida, in
In
Orlando.
Florida. Okay. Where is that in Florida? Is that Orlando or? Okay. Nice. And you did that straight out of high school?
I did. I had graduated, what, maybe like 6, 7 months prior, and then as soon as I could, I had moved out to Orlando, and I was super fortunate enough to maybe like my first or second month of going to school there, I was able to start wrenching not wrenching, I was able to start as a porter at Seminole Harley. So
Okay.
it was really cool. That helped me get my foot in the door, which is always the hardest part, is getting your foot in the door. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
So my first start, and I was waking up, seeing my motorcycle in my bedroom. And then, because I lived in an apartment in Orlando, and that's sketchy. and then I would go to school, and then I would get off from school and work at the shop, and then come back home to my motorcycle. So
Awesome. And drive it right into your living room again.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you take any programs in high school? Like, did they have shop programs?
They had a shop program, but I was skipping class to go down to the Harley shop.
Of course you were. So that
Yeah.
was your shop class, skipping school to go to the Harley dealership.
Yeah.
Was Harley always the first choice? Was that like the goal, or did you look at other manufacturers?
I had looked at other manufacturers growing up, seeing like both sides of Metric and a Harley. I was wanting to just work on a race team in general, and I'd grown up working on the dirt bikes and then helping my dad with the bikes. And when I was racing, I had raced junior dragsters, and then I had raced motocross as well. So I was always wrenching something, but seeing him like tear apart a clutch on a nitro bike in 20 minutes and have it back together in the same amount of time was just like amazing to me. And it like Harley was it after that.
Awesome. That's very, so wait, we skipped over something huge then. You raced before you even went to MLI.
Yes, I did.
Talk to me about that. Tell me about that.
Grown up riding dirt bikes and stuff. My mom was always a little sketchy about me racing, so I'd done like a few races here and there, but she was sketched out about it for sure, especially with all my dad's injuries that he acquired. Nature.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, fair. She did save me from quite a few concussions. I still have quite a few, but she definitely saved me from a bunch. So a compromise was doing drag racing. So I had gotten into that. Was pretty decent at it. And I loved it. And just being around the track and then just seeing how quickly you have to tear things apart and have it back together before a second round was insane. And it just like, wow, I want to do this someday.
So you're doing the racing, you're loving the racing, but you're also seeing the mechanical side of it and being intrigued by that. Did you ever think that you would pursue racing more full-time or more professionally?
I've been like bouncing back to it, but I was more, let's figure out why this broke. Let's figure out why this combination isn't getting me where I wanted. I was looking at, we would hook up the computer from my car to my laptop, and my dad would go over, the throttle, the RPM, and everything, and why it was doing this and that, and it just watching that was way more interesting to me than the thrill of racing. So that was more me. I liked being like the test dummy, testing out combos for my little sister, and then doing it.
Nice. So your little sister races as well?
Yeah, she does.
This is awesome. You're so cool.
That's about like where my coolness like maxes out. Like any other.
I don't believe you.
Drops off.
I do not believe you at all. I'm pretty sure you've got like coolness running through your veins. Excuse me. So, all right. So you've been racing. You go to MMI. You get your first job as a Harley porter at a dealership. How was that first job experience for you?
It was interesting. I mean, before they hired me, they definitely had to talk about having.
Uh-oh. You just froze up.
Oh
no.
Oh no.
Oh, now you're back.
Okay. It was definitely interesting. They had a talk before I had started. Being a little girl at the shop, and around in a man's world, it was definitely weird, but I quickly got on the tech's nerves with asking questions and helping them out, and just soon as that, it was like I got a job opportunity a lot closer than Seminole, because I was driving about like 45 minutes after school in I-4 traffic, which if anyone knows I-4 and how to deal with that daily, I am so sorry. They eat rims on that road.
Yes. That's a long haul. That's a long day to be going to school, driving 45 minutes and
Yeah.
working.
So I had taken a job at Orlando. I had a classmate that had worked at Orlando, and they was like, "Dude, let me get you in here. The porters over here, they do like little. They're more like lube techs here, so you can get a little bit more experience, get more
Okay.
familiar with bikes and stuff. Because I mean, prior to me going to MMI, I really didn't on motorcycles. I didn't really touch fuel injection. I was still super carburetor, so fuel injection was like this scary thing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that definitely helped out a lot, and the guys over at Orlando were absolutely amazing. They helped me get more comfortable and showed me proper positioning for tire changing and all the tips and tricks. Because there's 6 different ways to do things, so getting to see someone else's perspective is really rad and definitely helped me out in class. Like prior, I got to split cases on a Milwaukee 8 before we even did it in class. So that definitely gave me an edge on
Yeah.
a little bit. So that was rad.
That's very cool. Did you, I feel like I hear a lot of dealer techs particularly like feel like they get stuck in that porter position. Like they don't want to be moved out of that position or the lube tech position. Did you experience that at all? And if not, like how did you get out of that loop?
A little bit. There's definitely, because the poor position is definitely like high turnaround. Like there's always, nobody really wants to, there's people that are super passionate about, detailing cars, bikes, whatever. That's what they're good at. That's their bread and butter. More power to them. But there's more people that they're wanting to just take any way they can get a foot in the door as
Yeah.
possible. And a lot of times they get stuck there. But just pretty much just showing up, doing the work, and then showing interest and knowledge towards the other definitely gave me a leg up. It was like, well, let's have her do a service. Let's see how she does with that. Let's have her do a top end. See how she does with that. And just slowly me proving myself that, yes, I know what I'm doing definitely helps. So definitely kind of sucks to say, but definitely irritates service manager a little bit. Like that. Yes, I know what I'm doing. Let me have a shot. That
Yeah.
definitely helps.
That's I love that like the curiosity, like the always asking questions and then being a little like irritating, right? Not to the point of being actually irritating, but like just keeping on poking. I think that's there's so much power in that like persistence, right?
Yeah. Well, it also like shows you like it shows the other person like, hey, like I have a real like I'm super serious about this. Like take me seriously. Like this is what I want to do. I'm not playing. And that definitely I definitely having that mindset definitely helped me out. I was constantly doing that. I'm sure I got on my service manager's last nerve. I know I still get on my boss's last nerve. I'm like poking, like, I want to learn this. Let me learn this.
That's awesome. In your like, okay, so you've done the racing, you've done school, you've had your first job. As a woman, did you feel like any of those areas were more or less accepting of you as a female?
Racing definitely has changed a lot. I mean, Shirley Muldowney and then Bunny Burkett, all those ladies definitely opened up especially like off the Christmas tree. I mean, women are a lot more off the light and reactions wise. So, they definitely paved the road. So I didn't really feel a lot. There is, of course, the few people that were like,
Yeah.
she's a but definitely like in the industry, it was a little cold at first, and it definitely, and sometimes it still is cold. It definitely sucks, especially having to remind people that just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I have anything to prove. Like I've already proved myself. That's how I've gotten where I am. I'm just here to do my job, learn more, and just be the best at what I am.
Oh my God, I feel like can we say that louder for the people in the back, right? Like I already proved myself. I don't need to prove anything. Amen.
Yeah, like I'm super girl power. I've been lucky enough that I got offered by Lauren. I think she's watching right now. She's super rad. She picked me up when she found out I was working at the Proving Grounds to help her out at some of the women's events for wrenching for the demo fleet.
Okay.
Um, so able to go out and, you know, support and show women in trades during that for Harley, and that was really rad. But just like eventually, like getting all these females into it and like giving them confidence and not feel scared on going to a shop and asking questions and whatever. Definitely, eventually, you know, one day it's nobody's going to be going off of gender. It's just the best mechanic in the shop, and that's what my goal is. I don't want to. I've been told so many times, "Oh, well, she's a pretty good mechanic for a girl," and it's like, no, I'm a good mechanic in general, not just because I'm
Period. Yes. Period. End sentence. I'm a good mechanic.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I gotta look forward to the day. Amen to that. Like when we are just an amazing technician, like when we just get to do our work. Like that's all we want. We just want to do our job. That's all we want.
Exactly. It's definitely it's a blessing and a curse because it's definitely given me more opportunities because it sets me apart from the masses. But at the end of the day, I just want my work judged just like anyone else's. So
Have in the cold parts, right? Because I love the way you've said that, like that the industry could be cold because it can indeed. Is there tactics, techniques, like ways that you've dealt with that maybe others who are having issues and contending with the same stuff, because you know we all do, that you kind of can share with those ladies?
as much as it keeping the feelings, the emotions at home. Like there's going to be guys that say absolutely horrible things. Like a customer had taken a picture of me working on his bike. I had no clue, and I posted it on some Facebook page, and there were comments made.
Oh no, you froze again.
Oh,
Oh no! Ah! Okay, you're back. Maybe.
um, but I'd gotten posted on some Facebook page, and someone made the comment, I didn't know backpacks could wrench. And it was like, okay, I was doing this guy a solid, didn't even charge him. You know, he wasn't up on his maintenance on his bike. You know, I was wanting to make sure that once that bike left our shop, that, you know, I could go home at night knowing that I did the right thing, that he's safe. Um, definitely, like, as much as it sucks to say, ignoring it, like, definitely shut the emotions off as soon as you get to the shop, because that's the first thing guys are going to go after is, oh, well, she's emotional. You know, I've heard that so many times, and it was just like, I'm not even being emotional, dude. Like, I can crack jokes just like you. I can wrench just like you. It's all good. But
Yeah.
well, at the end of the day, when they're kind of threatened in a sense, and a lot of guys are still stuck in the, oh, this is a man's world. Well, it is a man's world, unfortunately, but women make it work just as well. So sometimes
Yeah.
even better. And I didn't even chip a nail while doing it. So what's up?
You're amazing. I love your sass. I love your attitude. Well, you definitely have to come out to Phoenix, or I have to go to like Havasu because we have to meet in real life. You're awesome.
100%. That'd be so rad.
So dealership versus independent, because you wound up at an independent shop.
I did.
Differences between the two and pros, cons.
So differences, working at a dealership, you'll always have a little bit more back. Like I can always call tech services big brother if I'm ending up like 2 hours chasing my ass on an electrical problem that just out of nowhere showed up. So that's really rad, and being able to call up, you know, another dealership and just being able to trade parts like that was always really good. But I did enjoy working at an independent shop way more because you're not as limited. I don't have to worry about that factory warranty deal. You know, I'm having customers a little bit more. Yeah, it only has 5,000 miles on it. You know, screw the warranty. I want the biggest cam possible. You know, I want to go fast. So that definitely, and then also not having those resources makes you think a little bit more outside the box. So I was very fortunate when I worked at that independent shop. I had a great mentor. He like showed me the ropes and showed me that, you know, you don't have to call Big Brother. We can figure it out. We can make our own tools if we don't have them. So it definitely has helped me out further along down the road, having both backgrounds, because I'm able to bounce ideas off, the senior techs and just be like, just talk back and forth with them on what works and what doesn't, especially that combo, working for a dealership. I love Harley, but sometimes some of their aftermarket their Screaming Eagle parts aren't as fast as the other parts.
That was very delicately said. Well done. Sometimes.
No, they're not always as fast as they, especially with EPA regulations. They got slapped on the wrist big time a couple years ago, and it severely cut down their aftermarket options. Like, oh, damn. So definitely work at an independent shop where seeing different combos go together, seeing what works, was amazing. I absolutely loved it.
I bet it's a double-edged sword, the dealership. Like you do have those resources, but that's such a fantastic point. Like it was the same for me. It wasn't until I left the dealership where I was like, oh, okay, now I really feel like I know my ish, because now I don't have all of those resources at my fingertips, and I actually have to think about it and figure it out and do all of the things without resources and without help. So there's definitely a huge benefit to that. I agree.
Especially making parts work that aren't technically supposed to work.
Yes. I mean, and that's like, that was my next question too, is like doing aftermarket performance stuff versus doing, right at the dealership. A lot of times I'm fixing what's broken. I'm bringing it back to stock. I'm making it run the way it's supposed to. And yeah, maybe we're adding like some cool like handlebars or some cool like whatever, but it's still like make the thing work the way it always did new, versus how can I make it better? It sounds like this is a no-brainer answer to the question, but do you have a preference, one or the other?
I definitely like adding go fast things to bikes. I definitely love doing that. It's just the dealership will only let you do so much to these bikes, and sometimes depending on the customer, they're able to say, you know what, I don't care, do whatever works best for my bike. This is what I want. Here's the money, just do it. But not all the time am I lucky enough to get customers like that. So shop and being like, look, like this is what we can do, and let's do it. Like when I was working at an independent shop, we did a few motor builds and stuff, but anything like super complex with like a shrink flywheels and stuff, we would send to A1 Cycles in North Carolina. And getting to go check out Mike's shop was super. Oops. That is definitely like a dream of mine to have a shop like that, whether it be personal or professional. I mean, his shop was absolutely beautiful. He drag races, so it was really cool to see his racing side and seeing exactly like what as a little girl walking into my dad and uncle's shop, seeing, all the little notes written down and everything on simple things like ring gap or, deck height and all this stuff. So definitely that is the goal.
I love it. So to own your own shop someday is the goal.
To either own my own shop or just have my personal shop set up as like a race shop would definitely 100% be it for me.
Judging from your tenacity and passion and just like energy, I feel like that's bound to happen sooner rather than later for you.
Eventually, I like where I'm at though, because I'm getting to learn, especially working on newer bikes and seeing what Harley is starting to put out into the world, and seeing that they are paying attention to, because everyone has always said, oh, Harley is 5 to 10 years behind the times.
Yeah.
Harley is starting to pay more attention and see what people want and hopping on the trend a lot faster now. So definitely like being able to see what we're doing and what we're moving forward, it definitely gives me a good feeling about definitely one day opening up something go fast wise.
Nice. I love it. How do you like your job now in comparison to working at a shop? Like, do you? I mean, I'm assuming you still get a ton of hands-on wrenching. Like,
Right. So I definitely do miss some certain aspects because, some of these parts that are going back on are don't really like change it up too much, but definitely like getting to work on these bikes and testing them. So especially on the unreleased stuff, we'll get to see it when it's getting ready to head towards being close to production, where they want to test the, how it's going to hold up with heavy mileage. Um, different, like we'll program the bike with different duty cycles. Like I'll put up on the dyno stand, hook all the actuators up to it, um, and then program the bike to run a certain duty cycle, which is based off of different riding styles, just to see how it affects people or well, how a person can affect the bike, and just seeing the different wear and tear that it gets on it. Definitely, and then going a little bit more in depth on why it is like this. Like, they're insane on doing notes. Like, I have notebooks in my desk of just from teardowns on different measurements, getting to see build books, the blueprints of the parts and everything. It has definitely, I feel like I definitely enjoy it a little bit more than working in an independent shop, just because I am constantly learning so much, you know. Definitely some aspects of it, talking to a manufacturing engineer, because I work hand in hand with the engineers, definitely kind of made me think about going back to school for engineering, for finding blueprints and whatnot, just because, that's designing parts is a big aspect of, the motorsports world. Like, what am I going to do to design that's going to make this go faster, work better, all that. So learning all that has been awesome.
that's funny. I'm glad you said that because I was curious if like there was like a come around for you of like this, like the engineering side of things, because you are on that side of things to a degree now.
Yeah, now like especially being able to actually like talk to the engineers and being like, especially like on the current release stuff, or not the unreleased stuff, I'm able to be like, why don't, like, my coworkers and I are able to be like, we can do it better this way. Let's try and go this way with it. One of my, because not everyone has worked in the industry outside of the proving grounds at where I work. Some of them have been straight from MMI that have gotten the job there. So definitely, if you're in MMI in Phoenix or Orlando, keep your eyes peeled, because they do have positions pop up every once in a while for working out there.
Nice, good tip.
But yeah, I mean, one of my closest coworkers I work with has been wrenching since the 70s. So I've been able to learn so much from him, and we've gone and given engineers hell on how they're designing things, just the poke of, hey, flat rate guys are going to hate this. Let's not do this.
Oh my God, thank you. We need more of you out there, like making cars and motorcycles easier to work on. How freaking cool is that though, that you like are really getting to be a part of determining kind of what these bikes are how they're being produced and what they're going to look like when they are unveiled and released. That's got to be an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's super amazing, especially like when, like for example, when they released the Lowrider ST, the new Lowrider ST that had the FXR style fairing. I was lucky enough to start like right before they were about to release it, so I was like, "Oh my God, they're paying attention!" Like they completely like redesigned it with the feel of still FXR. It's not quite FXR, of course. So I know a lot of people had mixed feelings about it, because they're like, it's not FXR fairing. Well, FXRs were unfortunately killed off in the 2000s, so this is Harley's way of redesigning it, since everyone's been throwing it on their bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Getting to see that and like seeing the stuff that we currently have at the shop is like, wow, like they're really paying attention. This is really, really cool. And even when I was working the women's event a couple weeks ago, I was in York, Pennsylvania. So I got to tour the plant that I used to pass all the time when I was heading up to Maple Grove Raceway. I got to tour the plant, and that was so crazy seeing them actually assembling the bikes.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, so that was really cool, and it was just like, wow, like the way they do this is insane. I'm so glad I went this way with my life to get to see like how they're doing this. It's so rad.
And what a crazy, like, kismet kind of thing. Like, you weren't even looking for this position, and you said yes, and you redirected your entire path. And how freaking awesome of an experience and opportunity this is.
Oh yeah, it's been absolutely insane. Like when I was at the plant, like I had called my mom. I had a fangirl moment. I was like, Mom. She was like, "You're in Pennsylvania, stupid. Like, would you go to Hershey?" And I was like, "No. Like, I'm here at the plant. Like that plant that I told you every single time. Like one day I'm gonna work there. Like I'm here. I'm touring it. I work for Harley. This is so rad." And she was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm sleeping. I'll talk to you later."
She's like, that's great, honey. I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. What has been maybe the most challenging part of working at the Proving Grounds? And
Definitely, well, it is quite a drive because the Proving Grounds is in the middle of nowhere in Yucca. So I have a 45-minute drive to work in the morning.
what's with you on 45-minute drives? This is like the
I
thing.
know, it's something about it. So yeah, it's a 45-minute drive at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, but I'm glad I start my day at like 5:45, 6, and not 2 o'clock in the afternoon like second or third shift does, because that area is a killer. Oh my God. But yeah, that's been a little bit challenging. And then, working in a shop for so long, like you kind of, especially being flat rate, you kind of walk away a little bit of how you're doing it by the book. Like you learn tips and tricks on how to beat flat rate time, how to do it properly.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I have no clue. But but definitely that's been the hardest thing of being like, oh, I have to do it by the book. I have to write everything down, even the stupidest little thing. I have to put a torque wrench on, like battery bolt, for example. I have to torque it to spec. Yeah, that's been
I don't think I could do that.
the hardest thing. And luckily, the engineers have been super, super cool with me, and they're like, Alex, did you use a torque wrench on that battery bolt? How do you use a torque wrench? So they've been like super cool with that. I've just reminded me and being like, all right, like we know you got this, but you gotta do it our way. No calibrated elbow over here, apparently.
That's a really interesting point. I didn't think about that, but you're totally right. Like flat rate world, right? It's like we do whatever's fastest and we know what corners we can cut, right? Like it's obviously important to know the right way to do it, but when you're working out in the field, like I know I can cut that corner, it's safe, it's okay. And then to be held to, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, it's definitely been a little bit rough. But it's also like going back to basics and learning because everyone has a different way to do it. So learning how my coworkers doing it has been super cool to just see the different. I just saw someone put the torque wrench spec for a battery bolt. That is so rad.
I saw that. I was like, yes.
But yeah, it's definitely it's been super cool just getting a back to basics and seeing like why they have the torque spec like this, especially when we're testing like new components and new bolts and everything like that. So getting back to that and seeing why exactly we have it like that.
Okay, so here's the question then. Now that you're seeing the why, if you went back to being a flat rate tech, would you still do it the
I
right way?
still 100% do it that way. I would still 100% do it that way. Because
Interesting.
when I was at the independent shop, we were upgrading some of those bolts to ARP bolts, and those bolts are awesome. So,
Awesome. What has been the coolest project or thing that you've gotten to do at the Proving Grounds? All of it?
yeah, because I can't. I've signed so many NDAs that it's
Oh, of course.
yeah, but getting to tear open a Pan Am because those are released, so I can talk about those. Get open, like split the engine on it was super cool because when I had first started there, I mean, I had just came from an aftermarket independent shop, so those were like recently released. They got released. You know, not a lot of people were cracking them open.
Yeah.
So being able to actually crack them open and like seeing how everything is set up, you know, the different ports, why this is the way this is, how this is designed, especially with it being a new engine platform, is just that was one of the coolest things that I got to do so far, besides learning how to set up dynos, because I've had dyno experience in the past, but setting it up where the bike runs by itself at 100 miles an hour all day was insane.
I bet. And then there's, of course, all the other things that you can't talk about yet that are probably amazingly cool. We'll just have to stay tuned and pay attention. Oh my goodness. So what else do you like? What do you do when you're not working at the Proving Grounds? Are you still doing any racing?
I have not yet, but I've been thinking about. My dad has this absolutely insane 490 dirt bike converted it into a drag. So I've been thinking about,
Ooh.
yeah, so it's a two-stroke. So hearing that thing go down the track is insane. I've been thinking about getting back into it because it is definitely on my bucket list to knock out all the different types of motorcycle racing that I can do. I've done motocross. I've done a couple of the drag races on the bike. Still want to do flat track, hill climb. So as many of those as I can cross out is
I
the
love
goal.
it.
Yeah.
You seem pretty young still, so the fact that you've done as much as you have in this short amount of time is pretty freaking phenomenal in and of itself. So,
Yeah, it's constantly like when my coworkers found out how much of a baby I truly they were like, "Wow, like that's crazy." I was like, "Yeah." Like them finding out my birthday is next week and I turned 23, it was like, "Oh my God, like that is insane! All the things you've done in your life so far." And I was like, "Yeah, I got a head start on it for sure." So I always have to pace myself and remind myself, like, because I'll look at my coworkers that are on the same like level as me, or people in the industry that are kind of at the same 5 years experience. They've been doing this, or you know, the classmates I had graduated with, and I always like pace myself because it's like, wow, they're going out and doing amazing things. Like that's so rad. I want to go out and do amazing things, and it's just reminding myself I can't do everything at once. I gotta save things. I cherish them while I'm doing it. I can't just race through things.
and you are doing amazing things. And but I love that sentiment of like cherish it while you're doing it and don't rush through it. That's a beautiful like thought. And also, oh my God, you're 20, you're almost 23.
Yeah, I'm almost 23. I turned 23.
Happy almost birthday, first of all. And second of all, get out of here. Like seriously, you're so put together. Like your experience level is amazing in and of itself. But like you said, you started when you were like still in your mom's belly. So like that's a benefit. But you're so well spoken and so put together and have such a positive, amazing attitude. Like props to you, props to your family, and everything that's kind of contributed to getting you where you're at now. Like you're girl, you got it.
Yeah, I owe so much of that to like my parents and my family. I mean, I was definitely in high school. I was not heading down the right path, and I had gotten pregnant at 16 and had a baby, which definitely put my butt into gear on I need to grow up and, do all the right things. So he's been a major factor in, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta have everything lined up. Like, as soon as I was able to, I went to Florida, put myself through school, because I wanted a career. I wanted something super rad, that would not only I love, but something that would provide for my little family and I. And I owe a lot to that to him for sure. He's super rad.
How old is he now?
He's 5.
Oh, that's such a good age.
Yeah. Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
He's got definitely a lot of meat in him. From jumping off into the pool earlier today. So definitely he's got my wild streak in him for sure.
Of course, that's payback. That's how like this whole life cycle thing works, right? Like
100. Everything I did to my poor mama, I'm getting told.
That's why I don't have kids. Because I'm terrified of what I'd have to put up with.
You can hang out with them for a couple hours, send them right back to me, or it'll reaffirm you on the not having kids thing.
I love it. Oh my gosh. So is he following down your footsteps with things that he's interested in?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, he is. He's super into cars and everything. When he was little, he was pointing out as we were walking into the store, somebody's super flat tire right in front of him. It's so embarrassing. It's like, Mommy, they have a flat tire. They need to fix that. I was just like, yes, they do. But come on, sorry, please.
That's so cute, though.
Yeah. So he's definitely a gearhead for sure, and it's kind of rad.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. I just looked up at the clock and like, holy crap, we're almost through an hour already. How did that happen?
That is
Time flies when you're having a good conversation. You've been so much fun to get to know. Like legit, we have to meet in real life.
100. That'd be so rad.
Yes, definitely. Real quick, well, not real quick. Take as long as you want. My final question that I always like to ask is if you had an opportunity to talk to the younger you, or another little girl out there who is the younger you out there, what are your words of advice or inspiration for them?
My words of advice are always go with your heart. If this is something you're wanting to do, it's going to be a little bit of a hard path, but it is so worth it. Getting to how do I say this without sounding like an absolute brat?
Say it. Sound like a brat. It's cool.
Getting to prove like people wrong when they have told you you can't do this, has been absolutely amazing. When I was going to not only like to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself that I can do this. This is something that I can 100% do. For example, I had just started getting ready to graduate and had already was doing more loop tech wrenching type deals, and one of somebody that was going to the same school as I was like, this girl, she's just here for the dudes. It's a male dominated, it's perfect for her, and getting to work on his bike because he brought it to a dealership, getting to work on his bike, and then I definitely did get yelled at by my service manager about this. I like power slid on his bagger, like out of the wash bay a little bit, spun a little bit of tire. And just seeing his jaw drop was just like icing on the cake. Like everything, it sucks hearing it. I've definitely gotten into a slump sometimes of just you're only good because you're a girl, or blah blah blah. I've had people that have come into the independent shop that I worked at and thought I was the secretary, and it's like, or just completely brush me off, even when I'm more knowledgeable than the person next to me. And it definitely sucks. It definitely hurts, especially having so much invested, not only time, money, tools, invested into this, and feeling out of place in a world I'm so passionate about. sucks, but just keep like pushing forward. It all works out in the end. I mean, I've definitely gotten told no because I'm a girl for working at a shop. Um, so definitely keep going because you're gonna prove the haters wrong eventually. So it all works out in the end. And just always keep your nose down. Keep grinding and just like always go up to the oldest guy in the shop, the oldest technician, and become his best friend, even if he's a grumpy old man. My mentor at my very first shop that I worked at when I got certified and everything was super grumpy. He was super set in his ways. Women belong in the kitchen. I had told him I got lost on my way to the kitchen. I thought this wrench was a spatula, whatever. We became just like it from there. He showed me so many things that they no longer do in the dealership that have helped me out so much. So always go up to the oldest, grumpiest old man in the shop and pick his brain. He has so much you can learn from that is a dying art that I've been so blessed to have learned.
That's fantastic advice. I have not had anybody say that yet, and that first everything you said has been fantastic advice, and I love the way you've worded it all. But yeah, find the oldest, wisest, grumpiest man
Yeah.
in the shop. Great, great advice. Oh my gosh, I've had such a blast talking to you and hearing about your story and meeting you. You're phenomenal. I'm excited to continue to watch your career. I want to see these bikes that you've been working on that you can't tell us about yet. And I'm just super thrilled that you said yes to joining me here. And I thank you for being my guest. I thank everybody watching for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed meeting this badass woman as much as I did. Make sure you guys come back next week to meet another incredible, awesome tradeswoman. This will live in my IGTV with all of the other episodes that we've done in the past. Over 100 amazing women that you get to listen to their stories and meet them. Hopefully Instagram doesn't give me any issues getting this one posted. Fingers crossed. And with that, I'm gonna again thank my sponsor, Drive Time, for helping make this possible. I wish you guys all well. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. Alex, I'll be in touch with you offline. And you're phenomenal. Have a fantastic rest of your evening.
Thank you, you too. It's so great getting to talk to you.
Amen. Back at you, girl. All right. Bye, guys. Have a great night.